Hi, good morning, media. We are joined by Iowa coach Lisa Bluder. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
And we'll start with questions for the coach right here first.
Hi, Coach. Pat Eaton-Robb from the Associated Press, right up front. Like the kids say, you're kind of getting your flowers now after this long career in Iowa. And,
Ooh, are you calling me old?
no, ma'am. But I was wondering how that career has prepared you for these couple years and this kind of run and what's happening now with your team and you.
Well, first of all, happy Easter to everybody. It's great to be here on Easter Sunday and be with everybody and our team, and just for our team family to be together today. But, I don't think you change much as a coach, right? Your values, your morals are what you are. And they're the same as, when you started coaching. I mean, you evolve as a coach as far as X's and O's, and you have to evolve because of the way kids have changed over time, right? I mean, you coach differently because of that, but what you ultimately stand for, what your morals and values are, hopefully they don't change as you have success or have failures. You hopefully are the same person no matter what, and I hope that I'm the same person that I was when my mom and dad raised me.
Morning, Coach. Doug Feinberg, the AP. As a seasoned coach.
Thank you, Doug. No, I'm just kidding.
We're definitely in a movement for women's basketball, not a moment, a movement. Players like Caitlin, players like Angel are helping grow things. From someone who's been around for a few, do you notice that? Do you see that these two players are really a big part of the movement that we've seen for women's hoops the last 2 years or 3 years, really since COVID hit?
I do. I mean, it's just has exploded. Women's basketball, women's sports. I mean, I go back to Nebraska volleyball having 90,000 people to watch their match in the football stadium, or our team having 56,000 in the crossover in Kinnick. It is a different time for women's athletics, and it's the best time to be a female athlete. I think that definitely those two players have had something to do with it. I think there's a lot of great players around our country. I mean, you look at Paige and Juju and Hannah. I mean, you could go on and on about the tremendous talent that is coming up. So this is not like the pinnacle, in my opinion. This is just the start of it, and I just hope we keep getting the momentum that we need. And that's why it bothers me when I see people tearing down these great players. Isn't this what we all wanted, is for our game to continue to rise? And so to me, it's a shame when people, not only, adults, when adults are tearing down these women, when all we should be doing is building them up. They're amazing.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Lisa, back here.
Yep, thanks.
What have you seen from Flage in the last, I'd say, 5-7 games, and how much different is she than she was when you guys played them last year?
Yeah, I mean, and I've only had a time to watch a couple of films, okay? But it seems like she has really elevated her game throughout this tournament. I mean, in the last 5 games, she's, averaging 19 points versus 14 on the year. So, I mean, her game is elevated. She's really hard to guard. She just, as a sophomore, seems to have great leadership skills and great emotion. Like, it seems like the team kind of goes, with her emotion. And so she's an unbelievable player.
Lisa, good morning. Howard McDowell at The Next. Just wanted to talk about Sid, if we could. 2 things, 2 parts to it. One, when Sid was put into the starting lineup, for you to share the conversation that you had, what you remember, instructions you gave, and just also specific to the system you run. It almost seems like she's like the ideal for it when you look at all of her shot coming, beyond the arc or at the rim. She's gotten more efficient. Did you expect that when she came to the starting lineup specifically?
All year long I was telling her, you're the 6th player in our league. You could be starting on every other team. And I loved what she said one time. She said a lot of people jump, when they're not getting the starting position or when they're not getting the playing time, and they jump to where they think the grass is going to be greener. And she said, I stuck with it because I love this place. And that meant so much to me that she made that comment. But I think she has just seamlessly went into the starting lineup. And I think it's because of the style that we play, that we're kind of positionless, so it really doesn't matter, what, if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't really matter. They all do the same things. And so it really was effortless for her to move in there. She's always been confident. She's always been just this tough, like, chip on my shoulder, I'm going to prove you wrong type of kid. So it has been very easy. Now, would I love to have Molly Davis back? Certainly would love to have Molly Davis back, but I'm so happy that Sid is showing everybody what she's capable of.
Kyle Huseman, Hawkeye Report. You guys got to play LSU last year in the national title game. They have some pieces back from that team, some new pieces. Is there anything that stands out to you about this year's team that is maybe a different challenge that they pose this year compared to last year?
I just think they shoot the 3 ball. They rebound so well. They're just an excellent basketball team. And so, it's going to take a complete game by us, but they are, they're pretty balanced. You got 5 people averaging in double figures. That's really hard to guard when you have that kind of balance. And so they have experience, great experience at all their spots. There's just not a lot of weaknesses there.
Erica L. Ayala with CBS Sports Coach. Thank
Sorry,
you.
it sounds like it's coming from God right now instead of out here, so I apologize.
I will not take credit for that,
Okay,
certainly not
there you
on
go.
today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go in a completely different direction with this question, but you talked about some of the negative comments that come with the growth of women's basketball. And since it is women's basketball, there are often very sexist comments, and even again, because it's basketball, racist comments that come with that. As a coach who is molding young players, how do you and your staff handle those things as they come to make sure that first your players are okay, but then also that they have an awareness of and an understanding of how to be confident and be supportive and stand up for their teammates or others who are experiencing that?
Yeah. First of all, that's not done overnight, in my opinion. That's something that, your culture is built on, that you have to have your teammates' backs no matter what. So when things do happen, it's not like we're teaching you in that moment, but it's ingrained in you. It's a part of who you are. Building confidence in my women. We talk all the time, do not listen to outside sources. They don't know you. They don't know your heart. They don't know who you are as a person. And so to me, it's like we have a very tight circle, and we really just care about the people in the circle and what they think about us, and not what the outside, voices have opinions, because they don't know us. They really don't know who we are. So to me, it's all about what you've established the minute they walk on campus to the minute they leave, versus trying to correct something or create something in the moment.
Lisa, Chantel Jennings with The Athletic. 2 quick ones, if I may. The first is Molly Davis. Are you expecting her to be available for tomorrow?
I don't. I'm really, really disappointed. I really thought she'd be back for the tournament. I really did. And so that's too bad. But I don't expect her tomorrow.
Okay. And then the second one, Caitlin has talked about how she enjoys talking on the floor. Angel has as well. Kim earlier said she enjoys it as well. I'm curious for you, like when you were a player, 6-on-6 Iowa basketball, were you much of a talker?
You had a lot of time to talk in 6-on-6 because you stood at the half-court line while the other 3 were playing. And so, yeah, you got to know the guard that was guarding you pretty well. But no, I don't know that trash talking was a thing really back then. Maybe it was, and I just don't remember. Maybe, it wasn't where I played. But no, I don't do that to this day.
Hi, Lisa. Mark Singles from the Albany Times-Union. You have 2 very good high-profile teams playing on Monday. One of you is not going to the Final Four. Is it unfortunate this game isn't taking place at the Final Four? And understanding the challenges of putting a bracket together, could they have done a better job of making sure that this didn't happen until Cleveland?
Yeah, I'm sure the committee did what they thought was best as far as seeding this. There's a lot of storylines, obviously, that have been created through the bracket, but I don't think the committee sits there and thinks about the storylines. I think they're really trying to just seed the tournament as best as they can. and they felt this is the best way. So do I wish we were facing? I just want to be playing in the Final Four. So I mean, do I play LSU here, there? It doesn't matter. I mean, we just want to play our best game tomorrow and try to get there.
Owen Sebring, KGAN. Happy Easter, Coach. After she broke the scoring record, Caitlin was asked about what 6-year-old Caitlin would think about where she was at right now. What would 6-year-old Lisa Geske think about, playing in or coaching in 2 straight Elite Eights and where she's at right now?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it. Yeah, I mean, my dad put up a basketball hoop for my 2 older brothers, and they never used it. I'm the one that wore it out and made them take down their bushes so I could shoot from farther out and stuff. But 6-year-old Lisa would have no comprehension of this because you didn't have the role models then. You didn't know what the possibilities were. You didn't know what you could achieve, really. Back then, I mean, we didn't have, people, the Olympic basketball team back then. So that's why role modeling is so important. That's why women need to see women in spots of leadership and of success so that they can become that too. I didn't have that growing up.
Hey, Coach. Claire Hanna with TSN. Angel Reese was just in here talking about how she's played against Caitlin Clark since high school, and clearly a lot of eyes are on the 2 of them. In your thoughts, what makes their matchup, just the 2 of them, their leadership, so electrifying?
Well, they're both dynamic players. I mean, they're both emotional. They're both passionate about the game. They're highly competitive. They're both excellent at their craft. And so, I think it is naturally going to happen that you talk about the 2 of them a lot.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. Lisa, you talked about, as a coach, your morals and your values shouldn't change over time. How would you describe yours and maybe how they're reflected in your team and how they play?
Well, I mean, I've always tried to be a coach of integrity. I think that's really important, that your players see honesty when you're talking to them, that you're trustworthy, that you do what you say you're going to do when you're going, supposed to do it. I lead by my faith. I'm a very faith-based person, and that's important to me. And so I think that's kind of where it lands in. Be kind to others, man.
Follow up, hold on.
And how might that be reflected in the team and how they play?
I mean, I want them to be, that's one of our values is integrity. That's a big part of who we are. So when you walk into our locker room, it's one of the things that you see. Respect is another one that you see. Respect of your teammates, but also, yourself. How do you talk to yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you, self-motivate yourself? So those are all really, really important, and I try to instill those upon my team all the time. I mean, they know our values are not just slapped on a wall. And, okay, there they are, check it off, we did that one day. If you asked our players what our values are, they would be able to recite them. They know what they are, because it's ingrained in what we do all the time.
Here, last one will be there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Bluder, Michael Vopel from ESPN.com. It seemed like Caitlin was really intentional about getting the rim yesterday against Colorado, and I know that was something that was a little difficult to do last year in the championship game against LSU. Are there ways you think you can help her do that a little bit better in this matchup tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I got to think about that a little bit more, MA, because it is, they're such a good defensive team. They're so long. And she did a great job yesterday. Her 3 wasn't falling, and so she did what a smart basketball player does. Okay, I'm going to score in other ways. I'm going to assist the ball. I'm going to get to the rim. She didn't get to the free throw line yesterday, which is, I don't remember a game where Caitlin has not gotten to the free throw line. That was kind of unusual. But, I'm going to have to figure out ways for her to get to the rim because, LSU is just so good, and I haven't done that yet, MA.
Last one. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. You talked earlier about how you've evolved a little bit because kids have changed. Mm-hmm. How have kids changed for either better or for worse?
I mean, you used to, when you first kind of started out coaching, I mean, kids believed everything you said and they did it because you said to do it. And now they have to kind of know the why. And that's okay, right? I mean, that's just, how things have changed. Parents are definitely more involved, and I'm fortunate that I've got great parents on my program that don't get involved, but I know I've talked to a lot of other coaches that parents are highly involved. Obviously, social media has changed players so much, and they're more worried about their, brand and that sort of thing than there just wasn't all the distractions that there are now. So kids have changed because they want to be treated, I want to say, more humanely than used to be, 40, 50 years ago. Coaches could do whatever they wanted. Nobody really said anything. And now, they're treated like people. They're respected a lot more, and I think that's a really good thing.
Thank you very much, Coach. Student athletes, 10:30. Student athletes are arriving. All right, welcome back, media. We'll now take questions for the student athletes. Good morning to Caitlin Clark, Kate Martin, and Hannah Stuelke. Good morning. Start here in the front.
Pat Eatonrod with the Associated Press. Caitlin, Angel was saying people might be a little surprised to know that you two are actually on pretty good terms. Can you kind of describe your relationship with Angel, and do you think you guys are going to be defined, I'll try this again, in kind of the way Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were defined throughout their careers after playing in the national championship game and then going forward as rivals?
Yeah, I would say, me and Angel have always been great competitors. Obviously, she played in the Big Ten for a while to begin her career, and that's what makes women's basketball so fun is, you have great competition, and that's what we've had all year long. But I think Angel would say the same, is like, it's not just us in women's basketball. That's not the only competitive thing about where our game is at, and that's what makes it so good. We need multiple people to be really good, and I think both of our careers, whether she decides to stay or what to go, we'll have great careers in the WNBA, and that's been both of our dreams all along. So I think we're both excited for that as well.
Good morning to you all. I wanted to talk about Sid if we could. Caitlin specifically to the idea that she is going to get to continue this Iowa program at a moment where you had the WNBA, but also, and for any of you, if you could talk to me about what it was like the moment she entered the starting lineup, any ways to give her encouragement, conversation that you guys had as well.
Yeah, I think for Sid, like, she's been so good for us this year, and I think I'm just so proud of her because she played behind two really good players in Kate and McKenna to start her career. She never really got many minutes, but all of us would say, like, Sid was somebody that was in the gym just as much as anybody else. Like, she worked on her game. She believed in herself. She came to practice every single day and worked so hard. And now for her this year to kind of take a step and really make this moment hers has been really fun to watch. And nobody deserves it more than her. So more than anything, you're just happy for her. And then when Molly goes down, she takes another step forward and really just embraces the moment, isn't scared of anything. And Sid does things that don't show up in the box score. She's been scoring, she's been rebounding, but she does so many other things that don't show up in the box score. And whether it's her physicality, whether it's her mentality of just diving on the floor for loose balls, whether it's just boxing out hard every possession, everybody on a team needs a player like Sid, and we're lucky to have her.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. For Caitlin.
I'm sorry. Repeat your follow-up. Go ahead.
Just for Kate and Hannah, both, just if there was any particular moments or conversations that you had with Sid as she had stepped forward for you guys. I mean, Kate, you in particular have epitomized this program for such a long time.
Honestly, didn't really need any conversations because we just felt so comfortable with her stepping into that role. Because Molly had missed a couple games before senior day as well, and so we felt really comfortable with her because we're super confident in her, and she's just a stud, and she's going to work super hard, and we know that. And the girl's always in the gym, always working hard, and I've gone against her every single day in practice. So, I was just super confident in her, and she's super confident in herself. So, no words were really even needed to say to her.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Caitlin, this is for you. You mentioned, it's not just you and Angel, and Monday is going to also have Juju versus Paige, and it feels like maybe the most anticipated day in women's basketball in a very long time. So what is the overall day, the two games, the four teams, the players and the stars everywhere involved mean to you?
I think it's just super awesome. I think, if I was just a basketball fan in general, I would be glued to the TV like no other. And Paige and Juju have both been able to have amazing seasons, and I've been able to watch as much as I can. Obviously, I'm pretty busy, but I love turning them on as much as I can, especially Juju. But what she's been able to do for that program as a freshman to come in and lead them to the Elite Eight with a chance to go to the Final Four is really, it's unreal, it's unheard of, and she's so special. And then what Paige has been able to do has been amazing as well, coming back from injury and really leading her team in the same way. And I'm big fans of them, but I think women's basketball fans know how special and cool this moment will be. I think the viewership numbers will show that, but I think the worst part of it is, two teams are getting sent home. All of them can't keep playing, but that's what makes this competitive environment so fun. Everybody's fighting to be able to play one more game, come back to practice with one another, and I think more than anything, it's just great for our game, and I'm lucky to be a part of it.
Dan Zakrzewski, Outkick.com. Caitlin, after the game yesterday, you seemed like dozens of autographs, and there were hundreds of young girls yelling your name. What does that mean to you?
I think it's so cool, especially when you're in New York, far away from Iowa, where you grew up and where you play most of your games. It's been cool to see our impact all across the country, and I think that goes back to what we were able to do at the Final Four last year and the way people really loved our team and loved getting to support our team. Maybe a lot of people didn't know who we were then, but obviously this season, every single game we've played has basically been sold out. People love coming and supporting us, but I think it's just the way we play. We play an up-tempo, fast-paced offense. We love scoring the ball. We're energetic, we're passionate, we support our teammates, we have a lot of fun doing it, and our fans in Iowa City have always supported really well, but that's been one of the coolest things is when we go on the road and arenas are packed, people are wearing Iowa gear and still supporting us in that same exact way.
Mark Singalese from the Albany Town Union for Kate and Hannah. How much have you thought about last year's championship game and anticipated another shot at LSU?
Yeah, well, I think we're both very different teams than last year. We've lost a couple starters, and they've had some transfers come in as well. And we're really mainly just focused on ourselves right now. At this point in the season, there's not much you can do, to worry about anybody else other than yourselves, but we're looking forward to it. It really didn't matter to us who we were playing in this game because we're just really excited to be back to the Elite Eight and get another shot at making another Final Four.
Hannah?
Yeah, I think just getting to play another game is the most important. I get to spend another game out here with these girls, and that means a lot for me.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Hannah? Hey. What do you remember from last year's game? You played, I think it was 11 minutes, but what do you remember seeing specifically of Angel, and what can you take from that for tomorrow's game?
I don't remember much from that game. It was a whole year ago. But I think boxing out is really important with Angel. She's one of the best rebounders, if not the best. So I think that's my focus for this game, for sure.
Erica Ayala with CBS Sports. Hannah, I actually want to just ask you to maybe go a little bit deeper there. Angel talked about the matchup, and you in particular, with regard to how you want to play offensively in particular. What do you hope to bring for Iowa? And then, Caitlin, I actually want to maybe help out my friend here at the AP, but I know you're a Maya Moore fan. What do you remember of the LA Sparks versus Minnesota Lynx matchups, and why do you think those were instant classics?
Yeah. On offense, I think just plain. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know yet.
Go ahead. Caitlin, you want to?
Honestly, I was pretty young. I barely remember some of our games. I think the biggest thing is the WNBA is what I grew up watching, and those rivalries and competitive games were something I just loved and thrived on. I loved watching their competitive passion and their fire, and I think more than anything, I just loved the Minnesota Lynx, the team that they had, the players that they had. Obviously, they built kind of a dynasty there, and Coach Reeves, what she was able to do with her players, and whether it was Maya Moore, whether it was Lindsay Whalen, whether it was Rebecca Brunson, you can go down the line. I just loved that team and supporting that team and what they were able to do for women's basketball. For me, they were my inspiration growing up, and they still kind of are, and that's kind of what I live by.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge for Caitlin. We talked a lot about trash talk earlier today. Kim said she loves it. Lisa said she didn't do it as a young girl. Angel said she uses it as motivation, and Haley compared it to hockey fights, as far as drawing people in and some of the outside attraction. I guess, how do you utilize it in your game? Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it?
Yeah, I think for me, my competitive passion is just all about the game and what fires me up and what fires my team up. I think that's what I'm focused on. I think I play with a lot of emotion, but I think our team is mostly focused on celebrating each other. That's what we've always been about. Coach Bluder always talks about celebrating the assists. We're a team that really focus on having, high number of assists every single night out and low number of turnovers. And, I thought we did that last night. We had 20 assists. Could have taken care of the ball a little bit better with 19 turnovers, but I think that's where my competitive passion and fire comes from. Is I know how much I expect out of this team. They expect the same out of themselves. I expect a lot out of myself, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And that's what makes the game so fun, being able to be in those types of situations.
Yeah, Mitchell Northam for the Baltimore Banner. For Caitlin, I'm wondering, there's a lot of Caitlin versus Angel talk here, and people can point out the differences between you two. I'm wondering what similarities you see between yourself and Angel, and if you can kind of see yourself in her a little bit with kind of the competitive fire and sort of swagger that both of y'all play with.
Yeah, I think like you said, there's definitely that competitive fire. Both of us want to win more than anything, and that's how it should be when you're a competitor and you get into a situation like this, whether it was the national championship, whether it's Elite Eight. That goes for LSU's entire roster, that goes for Iowa's entire roster. Every single one of us want this so bad. We want to advance to the Final Four so bad. So I think that's the main similarity, is how bad and how competitive we are. And, we both grew up loving this game, and we're going to do anything we can to help our teams win.
Patty and Rolf with the AP. Caitlin, maybe you can start and then Kate. But this is a lot of talk about Iowa has been about Caitlin. But can you guys talk about what Lisa has meant to this program, to you guys as a team, what brought you here, and do you think she's getting the flowers she deserves?
I do think she's getting the flowers she deserves. I mean, what she's built here at this program the last 23, 24 years is incredible. And what I love about Coach Bluder is that she really cares about us as people first over, basketball players. She's going to do anything to be there for us as people. And she really instills great values in us, and she believes that every single person on our team matters. It doesn't matter if you're Caitlin, who plays 40 minutes a game, or if you're somebody who doesn't really get off the bench. Every single person on our team matters, and I've always wanted to play for her ever since I was a little kid, and I'm so glad that she's still here and that I've gotten to play for her for 6 years, and I'm really glad that she's getting some recognition that she deserves, because what she's done is incredible.
Yeah, Coach Bluder's a Hall of Fame coach, and I think the biggest thing for me, like throughout the recruiting process that I loved about her is like she's a player's coach. She's not gonna, have a set offense that you have to run. She's going to tailor everything to what she has on her team and what's going to put her team in positions to be very successful. And that's exactly what she's done over the course of my 4 years. Like, I don't know if I have the type of success if I don't have the amazing teammates that I have, but also a coach that really allows me to be myself. And for that, I'm like forever grateful. And she's one of the best our game has ever seen. I think she's close to 900 wins now, so it's a lot of wins.
Last one right here. Last one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Michael Vopel from ESPN.com. Caitlin is as great a three-point shooter as you are. Does it, through the wear and tear of a season, does it become harder to sort of always have your legs in a three-point shot? And if it does, then do you, like yesterday, find some other ways to score? And how do you sort of balance that decision-making?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think especially when you're definitely playing in environments that you're maybe not always used to. I think also when you're playing in these tournament settings where your turnaround time isn't always the greatest, like you're definitely a little more sore. But also I think not settling for three-pointers. I think I took 19 threes and 22 shots total versus LSU the last time we played them. So not settling and falling in love with my three-point shot, being able to get into the paint, drive into the paint. I think that, that allows my teammates to get open. They're going to either have to collapse and make a decision, or I'm going to be able to finish at the rim. So I think that'll be another key going into this game, is not falling in love with my three-point shot, whether it's on, whether it's off, whatever it is, being able to score at all three levels, but also that helps set my teammates up a lot too.
Thank you, student athletes, for your time this morning.
Thank you.